Today, we're going to dive into the incredible journey of the operating system that, let's be honest, probably powers the phone that's in your hand right now, Android.
I mean, really think about it. This little slab of glass and metal connects you to literally everything. But have you ever stopped and wondered how it got so smart? How did we go from just making calls to this thing being the absolute center of our universe? Well, the answer is a wild, 2-decade-long story. It's full of big ideas, some near misses, and of course, massive, world-changing successes. And as you're about to see, it's a story that has a surprisingly sweet tooth. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. And I'll tell you right now, it's probably not what you're expecting, because Android's story, it didn't start with phones at all. You see, back in 2003, Android Inc. was founded with this really fascinating idea. Let's build a smarter operating system for digital cameras. Yep, cameras. But Google, they saw something way, way bigger. They saw the future of mobile. So in 2005, they just snapped up the company and completely pivoted the entire vision from cameras to phones. And just 3 years after that, the world met the very first result of that huge bet. This was it, the HTC Dream, also known as the T-Mobile G1. It landed with Android 1.0, and it was basically a revolution in a clunky little plastic shell. Sure, it had that slide-out keyboard, but the real magic was inside. Integrated Gmail, Google Maps, and the ancestor of today's Play Store, the Android market. This was the scrappy little underdog ready to take on the world. And that underdog spirit is what fueled what came next, an absolutely unbelievable era of rapid-fire growth, where every new version was famously named after a dessert, all in alphabetical order. First up was Cupcake back in 2009. And this might look simple, but this one feature, the on-screen keyboard, was the moment Android truly went all in on the all-touch future. This was a huge leap that basically defined the shape of every smartphone that came after it. Later that same year, we got Eclair, which added this whole new layer of polish. It brought us things we couldn't imagine living without, like pinch to zoom. And with live wallpapers, your phone's background wasn't just a boring picture anymore. It could actually be interactive and feel alive. Then Froyo showed up in 2010, and it was all about raw speed and power. It brought a massive performance boost, and it gave us Wi-Fi hotspot tethering, which turned your phone into a mobile command center for your laptop and other gadgets. So you see, Android wasn't just adding fun little tricks anymore. It was getting fundamentally faster and way more useful with every single release. This obsession with speed really hit its peak in Android 4.1 Jelly Bean with something called Project Butter. Now, this wasn't a feature you could see in a menu, it was a feeling. It was this massive engineering effort to make the entire interface feel, well, buttery smooth. By aiming for 60 frames per second, Google was on a mission to kill lag forever and just make the whole experience feel incredibly responsive and premium. And that push for smoother feel really paved the way for the next big era. After years of just cramming in features at a crazy pace, Android started to focus on something else, design. This is really the part of the story where the operating system grew up and found its own identity. And this slide right here shows that change perfectly. With Android 5.0 Lollipop, Google unleashed material design, and it completely replaced the old, dark, sci-fi-looking interface. But this was so much more than a new coat of paint. Think about it. With hundreds of different companies making Android phones, the experience was all over the place. Material design was the fix, a single, unified design philosophy that created a consistent, beautiful, and intuitive look, no matter which Android device you picked up. And this new maturity wasn't just about looks. It was about giving you more power. Marshmallow finally gave you control over app permissions, letting you decide exactly what your apps could see and do. Then Nougat brought real split-screen multitasking, and Oreo added picture-in-picture. The whole focus was shifting from just packing in features to creating a more powerful, more secure, and user-first experience. And then, in 2019, we got the clearest signal of this big change. With Android 10, Google officially said goodbye to the public dessert names. The fun, playful, experimental startup phase, it was over. Android was now a mature, global platform. Which brings us to right now, the age of AI. The goal isn't just to make the OS useful anymore. It's about making it truly intelligent, predictive, and deeply, deeply personal to you. This era really kicked off in a big way with Material You in Android 12. It's the next step in design, taking personalization to a whole other level. It's wild. When you change your wallpaper, the entire system, your icons, your menus, your widgets, instantly changes its colors to match. It's a system designed to make every single phone feel totally unique to its owner.
So today, Android's development really comes down to these three big things. First, intelligence, where AI isn't just an app you open, it's woven into the very fabric of the operating system. Second, privacy, with even stronger tools to protect your data. And third, the ecosystem, because it's not just about the phone anymore. It's about making Android work seamlessly across your tablet, your watch, your TV, and even your car.
And that future is already happening. The latest releases are doubling down on this vision, bringing us things like satellite connectivity for emergencies, more private spaces for our data, and an AI that's becoming less of a feature and more of an invisible, helpful assistant that's just there. So, from an OS for smart cameras to an AI-powered ecosystem that connects our entire lives, Android's story is one of constant, relentless evolution. For 2 decades, it has learned how to organize our digital world. And that just leaves us with one last big question. What happens next when it moves beyond simply organizing and starts to truly predict what we need?